Welcome.
I'm actually disappointed in them.
To the Gutter Nerds podcast. This is episode 16 of season 2. Tonight we're going to talk about grind in video games. The grind, the repetition, all of that stuff.
I thought this was about skateboarding, dude.
I thought it was about strippers, so I'm way off.
I mean,
Where's the
Well,
bump?
they're grinding.
Have to see you guys later, I guess.
Yeah, all right. Well, you want to
Lauren
skateboard down the strip club?
Skateboard, yeah.
We have a full crew tonight. On the left is Corporate Cal.
Hello.
He has a beard now.
That's yeah.
It's a good beard.
To my right is Lady Bree. She's back. After
Double E.
Ace in school. And to her right is Racy Rogue.
I'm
This is
alive.
Lauren.
I'm alive.
And at the end of our couch, our perpetual guest, Daniel, who is also Raven One lead
Perpetual.
on
He actually lives.
on Twitch.
That's the only reason.
You're back in the
See,
closet.
it's funny because whenever we come and like we're not podcasting, that door's always shut. But every time that Daniel's here, the door's open and the shower curtain's open.
Yeah, that's
So you live in the
Yeah,
bathtub?
that's where I live.
That'd be good.
That led to so much.
That's how we do it. So I want to ask you guys a question that I've been dying to ask you. It's been so long. So, what have you been playing? We'll start with Cal. What you been playing, man?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Boo.
Dun
What do you mean
dun.
nothing.
This is why he's so grouchy.
Oh, he's-
One of the reasons. Yes, that is
He's
one of the
grouchy.
reasons.
Are you really
yes.
grouchy? You just seem
Well,
tired.
no, my graphics card is at NVIDIA right now.
What happened?
You know that error I've been telling you about, how it blacks out my screen?
Yeah.
And like the fans go to 100%?
Uh-huh.
Well, I was doing that again. I told them I was fed up with their bullshit. And they said, okay, just ship it to us.
So they're going to send you a new 1080?
Yeah.
You just
Okay.
roll back the driver and carry on with life?
No. What?
He said it
Do you was it a mechanical problem or a driver problem?
It's a problem that was happened in the first gen of the card, so it's something in the coding.
Yeah,
That makes it
they'll fix
better.
it. Okay, well, never mind. We'll talk about it.
They are fixing
They
it,
are
so that's
fixing
good.
it,
That's good. Trexus, welcome. Just gravy, baby. Thank you for the cheer, buddy. For the na 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 Jurassic Park opening is what he. That's what we did last time. And June says hello, new guy. That would be you.
Oh, that's me. I'm new guy. Hi.
Yeah. Hi.
Or it's me because I have a beard. I'm in disguise.
You could be new. That's pretty new.
I hate to say it, but like, if I didn't know who you were, I would look for somebody with filthy casual insignia.
Yeah.
Even if like
Really?
he was dressed up in a mask, I'd be like, Calvin? No, okay. And the next person, Calvin? Okay.
So,
Wow, I look exceptionally tan on there.
It's because you're next to me, Bree.
Yeah, I was going to say, I look exceptionally tan.
Let's brighten me up.
let's not talk about who's tan and who's not here. Okay. We once went to Anime Fest, and it was me, Mike, Joseph Valero, and Glenn Schwartzer, who's like
Dark.
Pacific Islander. And
Dark.
so we all had written our room number on our forearm so that we could remember what the room was we were all staying
are
in.
you
And we all put our arms together and took a picture of it.
They had to
and
be
it looked like
drinking a little
looked like
bit.
3 human arms and a pig hoof with me next to it. It was
Why won't you just? I'm so flabbergasted that you wrote the room number down on your arm.
Wait, Aaron
Right.
took
Of all
a picture.
people, hold on.
Yeah, picture.
Of all people, I would expect Calvin to have to do that because he tends to drink after the cons are over.
Yeah, I was about to
heavily
say.
Why
excessively.
you guys?
Yeah.
Why?
They
It was
just
a
have
different
bad
time.
They
memories.
must get lost.
It was a different
Different
time.
time.
Help.
See, you're the people that are the reason we have those pictures that say "send me back to my bitches," and then there's shirts that say "my bitches." So you all find each other.
Like a bachelorette party group.
Oh, it's for dudes too, but it's usually like my bros.
Oh, okay.
But Glenn, not Glenn, but Glenn.
Glenn.
He'll be
Filipino.
generalizing
Glenn.
turd.
He's not, but
And
good thing Glenn though. Is,
Did what I say was what I said wrong?
No, you said
No.
Glenn.
Yeah, yeah.
He's just not typing very well.
Oh. Well, no. I mean, it's a,
Pacific Islander is,
Hey, I
is
swallowed.
Filipino. It's just more.
Man,
how's it going?
Oh,
Hey, Puck,
oh.
it's good to see you. again,
Hello.
buddy.
Hello.
Get some overalls. I got these from Walmart.
I can't even say their name.
What about?
I was like, what?
Yeah, oh yes, yeah. That's the name you. I mean, you couldn't. No. Let's move on. What have you guys been playing? Have you gotten to play anything, Bree?
Yes, I played Yakuza 0.
Really?
Yes. It
On
is-
PS4.
Yeah, it was $20.
Okay.
So I've never really played a game like that before.
Sort of like Japanese GTA, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like Sleeping Dogs. And
Oh, Sleeping Dogs was real
Yeah,
good.
it's-
play there.
Huh, what? Yeah. I left all your dad jokes, so that one was just bad.
Let us think about it.
Yeah, it's really fun though. It's really good. The fighting style is really intense, so you kind of have to.
It's a hand-to-hand, right?
Yeah, and so like you use your left analog and kind of to block at the same time. So it's literally like you're boxing.
Okay, cool.
The whole like every fight.
Yeah.
And it's really fun.
Did you ever play the was it the Jet Li game on PS2? It was like you used the two sticks. You used one to move the character, but the other one, depending on the direction you threw the stick, was sort of the direction you struck in, and it was very fluid. Are there guns in Yakuza, or is it all hand-to-hand?
So I'm carrying one, but I don't know how to use it. Like, he's equipped with a gun.
Like most people carrying guns.
Yeah, but like, I don't use it because I don't kill people. I'm not supposed to. So it's just, I don't know.
Likes to play the game properly. Like most of us who are like, let me just kill
it
this
doesn't let you, like, you randomly walk up to people and then, like, it's like in bold, like, white letters, it's like goons, and then you like start fighting, and then you go back to like walking around.
I've been playing Conker's Bad Fur Day on 64 and Xbox for Saturday Morning Retro, and I got to the final boss, and during the whole game, each level has like its own thing, like its own set of controls. It's either based on World War II or it's a riff on the Matrix or something else,
Yeah.
And so I get to the final boss and I'm having trouble with it, and I spent like 45 minutes playing it one week and came back the next week, and the first viewer that day was like, there's a block button. And God damn it! Like I was just trying to jump and punch. Didn't know there's, because it doesn't tell you in each section, So that was
So wait.
So you're telling me you went through a whole game and you didn't try all your controls?
So in the whole game, the rest of the game, the left trigger does nothing.
Yeah.
It just like either didn't do anything or just so it was only for that sequence, and they didn't tell you that it did
So
something.
wait,
in that sequence.
after you learned to block, did it help?
Oh, I did it instantly. Like in 3
Just
minutes
wanted
it
to
was
clarify.
dead. Yeah.
Okay.
It was completely changed that. So what have you been playing, Lauren?
I actually got to start playing Vampire.
Oh, you started playing Vampire. Do you
It's really interesting. Just because, like, I like the lore and the occult, and so, like, as a vampire, you get to, know who your master is, and you get to learn all these things about different people.
Do you start out as a vampire in that game?
Yes.
Okay.
That's how you're just put
And
it.
it's a lot of... So Vampire
detective
is a lot of
work.
detective-y, talky...
Yes, I love it.
And
so far,
like learning about people in your surroundings in the world, and then you can like kill and feed on like anybody, sort of.
Without giving too much away, your objective is to find your master.
Oh, okay.
So it's a lot of detective work because all you know is the clues around you, and then that sends you to a league of people. Now it's interesting because it kind of works like Fallout, where individual communities are around, and certain vampires are feeding and eating off of other people, and there's other occult type like animals and things like that. But it's awesome.
And you like the atmosphere because it's sort of like dark.
It's creepy.
It's like
Victorian
London.
It's like Sleepy Hollow.
Yeah,
it's got that atmosphere.
What about you, Daniel? Is that a dumb question? What you've been playing?
Yeah, probably. I did get my first legitimate kill in Fortnite.
Oh, you did. You can.
Yeah.
The first one, you'll forget your first one.
Oh.
I don't think so. I will not play Fortnite because I cannot kill nobody. I think he will. Let me kill it.
It might be like my first legitimate one of probably by the time my career of Fortnite is over 10 total kills. So I'm probably gonna remember all of them.
So what took place? Do you?
So I went to this one spot on the map that I've never been before, way out on the edge because that's where I'm best, not around people.
Yeah.
And
back to the ocean.
Yeah, and grabbed a little chest thing where the only thing in it was like this really stupid, you take one shot with a sniper rifle and then it takes you 45 minutes to reload it thing.
Oh God, yeah.
And then a semi-automatic thing, but it also had like an 8x scope on it or something like that. So like nothing useful if I were to actually run into somebody where I have the most trouble. But then it was like, well, this really kind of plays to my strengths.
I don't have to get anywhere near them.
Yes.
To fire upon them.
So I start getting into where the bubble's gonna be and just being like super slow and cautious and like trying to listen because I've got the headphones on, and I'm like, who's chopping down a tree? And so I hear something chopping, so I'm just zooming in, I'm looking around, I see a guy just standing there just chopping at a tree. Well, I did not realize that Fortnite uses somewhat realistic physics in terms of bullet flight. So I take aim and put him right in the crosshairs, and poof, it just goes shink. It's like, oh, crap. All right.
Fortnite and PUBG, there's gravity.
Let's compensate for
Had a
that.
laser.
And so then luckily he didn't even notice that I took a shot at him the first time.
Jesus.
Because
Wow.
it landed so far away from him that
There's no way he would
You didn't hear the,
he
like,
did
the
not
crack
hear-
of a
yeah.
passing bullet.
So the second one, I got closer, but it went over his head, and so then he was like, "Ooh, somebody's shooting at me!" And builds his little fort thing, and then he's like peeking up, and it just so happens he has no idea where I'm shooting at him from, and so it just so happens that he builds his little fort thing or his wall and guesses it being directly perpendicular to where I'm looking at him. So it's like I can't even go around and get an angle while he's trying to figure out where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
So he's kind of popping up and looking around and popping up and looking around. And so now that I've gotten 2 shots in, though, I kind of figure out where the bullet's going to land. So I just put it where his head's going to be and wait. And he pops up, and I pull the trigger, and then nothing happens. Because in that gun, you have to get out of the scope in order for it to reload.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh, I had it, dang it. And so then, reload it and pops up again, and I shoot him, and he actually dies.
So you lined it up for the third shot and you went click.
Yep. And I was like, why didn't it shoot? Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. And then Elite Dangerous, I've been a little lost in Elite Dangerous because in-game players have to kind of figure out where the Thargoids are going to attack each week. And this week they either didn't or couldn't.
Okay, so Elite Dangerous is an online space exploration and fighting. It's sort of an online overall space simulator.
Yes.
And the Thargoids are the aliens.
Are one of the alien races, yes.
And you can also take medicine from your doctor if you have a Thargoid problem.
Correct.
So you went hunting for Thargoids.
Yes, that's what I've been doing. Because it's kind of a mission.
Sounds real grindy.
Yes.
I'm glad you said
So
that.
it's a good thing you're
Wow,
on
that was a
tonight.
good,
Yeah.
if we had a sponsor, that would go so well.
This topic is Daniel's
Tonight's brought to
topic.
you by
Yes.
grinding.
Daniel's here because
Funhouse.
probably
does that
because
better
he's
than
like
anyone.
fun, and probably because this was his idea. This
Is
topic
it?
came from Daniel.
Why are we doing this?
Yeah, it's
so-
an awful idea. I don't know what I was thinking.
You can go ahead and host it. I'll just kick back.
Oh, well. So, this came about as I'm trying to explain to people the game Elite Dangerous. And in the community, there's a dirty word where you never refer to it as a grind. You never refer to it as grinding.
It's like an agreed upon
It's like,
community.
yes, like
never
if you
say
like
this
this
is a
game, don't even mention the word.
But you do it.
Yes, because it is.
Okay, so
It fucking is.
okay, for someone who's never played the game, here's why is that such a dirty word if that's exactly what you're doing?
Because the term grind gets a very bad rap from gamers. Grind is always looked upon as a negative. If a game has a grind, it is a negative.
I disagree.
I would push back a
The
little bit on that.
vast majority, if you're just telling the person about a game and they're like,
I
well,
hate
how
grinding.
grindy is it?
Yeah,
Like
I hate
if you say,
grinding.
well, yeah, there's a little bit of a grind to it. Like a good chunk of players like,
I won't play.
yeah, I'm out.
I don't know. I say in this day and age, that's what people want.
There
We
is
can't get that on the console.
there's a there are different types of grind, and then there are different ways of using grind. And
This
there's
could be a great euphemism. I just wanted to point that out.
yeah,
Right.
Because I'm like, why don't you just use the term if that's what it is? And it's like, oh, that's sex, isn't it?
because you want to use
Is it?
if you're trying to sell the game, you don't want to and you're marketing the game. You don't say, "Oh, come and grind all day long in this game," because it's literally the only thing to do.
Or the repetition in this game
Yeah.
is super. Yeah.
Yeah, you talk about the immersion of the game and how
Where there's ceaseless content.
yes, loads and loads of content, which is one of their, even by hardcore players of the game, nobody denies that there's a ton of content, but they wish that Frontier, the developers of the game, would recognize themselves that even though they have a ton of content, a lot of it is just the same thing.
So this is something we've talked about with Destiny and Destiny 2, in that Destiny has forever content. I mean, they both do kind of, but the first one because every week you reset, you go and you do stuff and you grind again and you get your stuff, and it's all the same missions.
Yeah.
They don't ever change. And in Destiny 2, they had the main story, the side quests, and a few of like the raids and stuff. But once you've done it all, and there was a lot to do, but there's basically an end to it.
Yeah.
Okay, I have now done everything.
Yeah.
And they and people that play Destiny 2 hardcore are going to say that's not true. There's always something to do and always something to go for. Sure, but
Yeah, because they update it, like they start over every Monday, but it is a new, like, I get, what is it called, Nightfall? Like
Yeah.
it's a new Nightfall, but it's still like it's pretty much the same
map.
thing.
So what do you prefer then? Would you prefer a game be able to be have a finite amount of content in it, or do any of you like the grind? And so when we say grind, we're going to mean anything from, repetitive actions like fighting things. Like in Final Fantasy, sometimes you got to level, and so you're not going to progress the story. You're just going to go out and fight stuff. That's a grind. To build levels, build experience.
And I guess
in
that's
Elite
where
Dangerous,
I'm
it's money.
stuck.
Yes, there's a lot, like literally the
A
whole
lot
game.
of things to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's because there's no end, there's no story, there's no point. There's a universe that exists and things happen in that universe, and you can choose to engage in those things or not. And so, even if you are engaging in them, like right now, I'm choosing to be a part of the defense of humanity against the Thargoid invasion.
Mm-hmm.
Well, every week we get given one or two systems that need to be defended. So it's the same thing. Every day of every week you fly to that system, you go out and you find Thargoids, you blow them up, turn in the combat bonds to get a little bit of money out of it, usually less than the damage that they've done to your ship. Then you go out and do it again.
So this is something that we sort of mentioned at the beginning. Overall, generally speaking, just y'all personally, if something is described as a game that is grindy or grinding or something like that, is that something you like, don't like, or does it depend? And if so, how?
Well,
What about you, Ken?
I'm gonna say it depends. 'Cause I mean,
Yeah.
well, look at a couple of games out there in general. You mentioned the Final Fantasy series, like you just said.
Yeah.
You have to level up. You have to get stronger to move on, or to achieve a certain goal, or even just to get maximum levels, so you can just be overpowered, essentially, right?
Right.
But then there's also the games that are built to grind. Like look at Stardew Valley. Okay, that's a farming game. You are making a game to grow a farm, to actually expand.
It's just a perpetual.
Yeah.
You're going through them. Is there a certain amount of zen to that?
Some
of
people enjoy
being able to
that.
check out.
So
I love it
this is
so
gonna be an
much.
old reference for you, and I'm not even sure if any of your listeners were around at the time to get this, but there's a benefit to petting fish.
Yes. Yeah.
So an old friend of mine, I guess ours, but he was my friend first.
You can have him.
is not a big gamer at all whatsoever. But his favorite game way back in the day, I don't even remember the name of it, but it was you were like a diver, and you would dive down and you would just pet fish.
Yeah. Or not.
Or not. And like
That was the whole game.
that was like the game, yeah.
So you didn't feed it. You just pet fish.
So
Yeah. Or it's important that you know that you don't have to pet the fish.
yeah, you can pet fish or not.
I'm
what's the point of
sorry.
the game?
Yeah.
To pet fish
As a
or
duck's game.
not.
Okay, so or not. So all you're doing is diving and choosing whether or not to pet fish.
Right.
Yes.
That's it.
You look
There's
around.
nothing else.
You look around.
You can look around
But
or
there's
whatever,
nothing
but-
else.
Correct.
I agree with Calvin. Stupid game.
But
But it was his favorite.
yes, it
Okay.
was his favorite game, and at
Does
the
he-
time,
I'm guessing he pet the fish.
sometimes
Sometimes.
sometimes he didn't. So at the time, I thought it was a funny gag, but I basically agreed with you that
stupid
that's
game.
stupid. And then I found out after playing the Spider-Man game for the PS2, I think Spider-Man 2.
Yes, Spider-Man 2 was the open world.
Yes,
The first open world.
My favorite part of that game is when I was done with the game, and I would just
You were over it.
web sling through the city. That is, I would sit
Yeah,
there
you
for
could
hours
just-
and just that was the most
Amazing things on that game.
calming thing to me was
Yeah.
jumping off buildings.
And one of the coolest
slinging around.
parts of Pilot Wing 64 on the N64 was getting that wings flight mode where there was no, you were just in the map and flying
you
around.
just fly. Yeah.
I thought that game was dumb.
So, well, you are also.
I'm going to jump into chat here. Just Gravy Baby says, grinds are a double-edged sword. If I already like the game, the grind becomes part of the challenge, but if I'm struggling to enjoy the game, needing to grind feels like a pathetic attempt to squeeze a few more hours of gameplay out.
Yes, and,
I agree
and
with
that hits the nail on the head, where grind used for good enhances the gameplay. So you add in a bit of grind that makes the game last a little bit longer. You get a little bit of repetitiveness in there, but if you do it right, it enhances the gameplay. Now, this is not...
Or makes it optional that is of a benefit. So if you decide to go out and grind levels or money or whatever, that will be a great benefit to you. But
you don't have to.
You don't have to.
Final Fantasy X is, in my opinion, the perfect example of the best way to introduce grind into a story game, because I did 0 grinding in Final Fantasy X when I played through it. Mm-hmm. I wasn't max level when I faced the final boss, but I didn't have to be. I beat him without being max level.
Right.
And so, with rare exception, I think there was twice where I kind of got into a new area, and I was like, ooh, I can barely kill these guys at all without losing half my team. I was like right there. So if you just played through the game, you didn't really have to stop and spend hours and hours just finding monsters and killing them and finding monsters and killing them. Now there is benefit to that because it makes the rest of the game easier. You get cooler weapons and crap and whatever, but you don't have to. You can just play through the story, and the natural progression of the story gets you to the high enough level for wherever you're going.
So then let me ask y'all, is there a game that you have... Oh, your phone is trying to rub my back.
Oh.
Saucy. Is there a game that you played that you've enjoyed the grind of the repetition in? Something that you would go out and level or just do...
Yeah.
Triple triads.
Triple triads. That's a game in a game.
Yeah.
But what was the grind in that? Like, what did it give you anything for doing it over and over again?
Well, Triple Triads, the card game in Final Fantasy VIII.
Yeah.
And you get all of the OP cards, which is like all the character cards,
Right.
facing other people.
Okay.
And so you have to grind it out, and then when you take away the cards,
So you would just play the game over and over again and just...
beat people and try to get the rare cards.
Interesting.
Like, especially since I'm trying to play through Kingdom Hearts 1.5, 2.5 right now, like, I know I have to do a little bit of grind. And I'm similar to what you just said. I'm okay with just enough that I can level and go on to the next world and it not be as big of a challenge as if Donald and Goofy die or whoever I've chosen to play with, that they just die and then I'm wasting potions on myself. I'm having to use more mana because I'm having to revive myself and things like that. Mm-hmm. But like Fallout 4, which I loved, Bree was like, oh yeah, you had to do tons of grinding. I'm like, nope, because I would go story, 2 quests, because I would hate all the quests lining up.
Right.
And so I would go back to storyline, 2 quests, and instead of grinding, I would just get through those quests because I hated the clutter, but I guess in a way it was still grinding. And I just didn't realize it because of the way that I organized myself. So me personally, if it's a little grind, more gameplay, I'm down. If there's a lot of grind...
If the game is based on a grind,
I
then
cannot.
You're not going to...
I just
can't.
can't.
What about you, Bree? Anything that you've enjoyed the repetitive nature of, or...
Yeah, Persona 5 is like that. Because it's a turn-based game.
And we're noticing that a lot of these are RPGs. They're either MMO-style games or RPGs.
And I feel like you have to have a love for RPGs to like that kind of grind. Because it's like, it's an RPG. Like, you're going to be doing a lot of quests. You're going to be trying to level up. So, like, the reason why I wanted to get to level 90 in Persona 5 was because you get his first persona back. Like, you get him for, like, the first 2, like, levels of the game, and then he's gone. He's like, I'll see you later when you're more powerful. And then you're like, crap, like, I don't ever get to see him again. So then I really wanted him. So then I had to keep going and grinding to get him, and then I finally got him.
JV mentions Kingdom Hearts, that actually Lauren said, grinded to level up to get the final Keyblades.
Yeah, I grinded in Kingdom Hearts a lot because I also had the book. So the book showed you every person that was OP that you could fight.
Yeah.
So, like, I fought Sephiroth. I bought that really creepy guy at the Peter Pan Tower. Like, and then in the second
like a
one,
time stopper.
Yeah, and then there was like some other dudes. Like, they had OP people that you could go fight, but like a lot of people didn't know about. and they were hidden around. Like you did, I'm pretty sure like people. I'm like
After
you
you
can
go-
fight Sephiroth.
People
at,
probably,
like,
yeah.
But
After you go
who's
to
gonna
Hollow
go do that?
Bastion, if you go to Agrabah, that's where Sephiroth
Yeah.
is. If you go to Neverland, because Neverland doesn't really give you a world, it just gives you that.
Yeah, you like
that
fly
final-
around.
Yeah.
and then you're in the
And
ship.
so that weird timing boss was the one that I always had the most trouble with because it was all magic.
Yeah.
And Sephiroth was only melee.
So there's, and JB mentions Paper Mario RPG games.
Mario
having to grind.
RPG itself is a bit of a grind too.
Yeah. So this is sort of like if in the grind also allows you though if you most RPGs there are some where you are not leveled enough to beat this boss, but where the grind I think sort of comes in handy is where if you can't figure out the strategy for a boss, you can go grind.
Yeah.
You can go do stuff to buff yourself up to where you don't have to worry about that so much. You can just brute force it if
Yeah.
you need to. And there are some games, though, that I don't know if this is so much a grind as forcing side objectives. There's a game on Xbox One called Recore, and it was sort of like
yeah.
Metroid-ish.
It looked cool.
But the thing is that it's like, these are the story missions, and then there's these other dungeons you can do. But when you get to the final castle thing, you have to have enough orbs that you get from doing side dungeons to progress through it, and that essentially meant you had to do almost all of the side things. And I was like, this is that really fucking sucked. Or feeling like, oh, I'm not leveled up enough to do this is very frustrating. Like forcing me to go out
Yeah.
and just do stuff, especially because especially as you get older, you only have a limited amount of time, and so like I'm going to be playing through these games. I sort of want to snap through it. So yeah, the grind can be debilitating, except when you're wanting to check out. Like by which I mean, that
If
Zen,
it's your escape, then
You wouldn't wanna
grinding's
pet
great.
fish.
Yeah, because
Right.
for me, it's like when I played
Or not.
Persona, like I could play that over and over and over
my
again
gosh.
because there was so much to do. Like, not only could you date one of the girls, you could date all of the girls. Like, you could go through each scenario with any of the girls. You could even date your teacher in that game if you wanted to.
Which game is this?
Persona.
Oh, Persona. Okay.
And it was just so many different things. So it was like I want to grind to be with her because
This
like
is
you
why
had to
she's
do that.
pushing me
Like,
to play this game.
it's
She's
so
like, you can date all
I'm just
the people,
saying.
all of them.
just saying.
So
and
you
then
can be a huge hoe.
yeah, well, you can't date all of them. You have to pick a specific one that you really want to date. But
you
then
can
there's
date
certain...
any of them, but not all of them.
Yeah, and so you have to go through like multiple times. Like I really wanted Makoto, but I had to be charming enough to get her, or like I had to be smart enough because she was the student council president.
Yeah.
So it was like,
That's why she wanted to do it.
yeah, they're my weakness. But yeah, it's just like,
An odd duck.
She's my odd duck, Calvin.
like I really do enjoy the grinding games, except for like I really loved the State of Decay when it first came out. It was so much fun. But now I'm extremely bored
Really?
because that's all you do.
Well, that's sort of what happened with Sea of Thieves also, which was like it was, oh cool, we can go out and do piratey stuff.
Saw that
I guess we're doing the same piratey
Yeah.
stuff from now until eternity.
Yeah.
Saw that coming.
And JB mentioned some other games where the grind was really bad. Assassin's Creed, he said the original one.
I feel like Fallout
Final
is
Fantasies,
definitely just a grind.
Borderlands, Division,
I think
and
those are
Destiny.
supposed to be that way, though.
See, I kind of agree, but only up to a point. Like, I was so focused on trying to get through the storyline in the game that for Fallout 4, if there was a grind, I didn't really notice it. Because you go, you fight them, and then you continue on your story.
Yeah.
But the thing that I hated, and it was a grind, was having to go back to the settlement that you first created and then have to like build shit to continue. That I hated.
Yeah.
That was a grind because then you had to go scavenge and you had to go find all this bullshit that you really didn't need to continue the storyline, but you did it anyway. So-
in something like Elite Dangerous, then that is to you obviously an enjoyable grind.
So, Elite Dangerous has a balance issue in terms of kind of how much stuff costs and the credits per hour that most players can make.
Okay.
That is the issue with Elite Dangerous, not what you're doing. Because I find all of the tasks in Elite Dangerous, even the most mundane, enjoyable. because I'm still even if I'm doing the pick up unknown cargo from station A, deliver it to station B and drop it off, pick up another one, deliver it, I'm still flying a spaceship through the Milky Way.
The thing about Elite Dangerous is the simulator aspect of it. So if you're an arcade gamer, this is probably not going to be a game for you. But if you want to feel immersed in the spaceship, as in you don't just point and fly, you have to like spin up your FTL, you have to go into hyperspace, and then when you come out of hyperspace, you have to time that at a specific like exit, and then you in systems you have cruise speed that you go through, and then your HUD is all like, this is your settings, like not for the game but for like the ship, all the different tasks that your ship does.
Flying while
you have
simultaneously shooting and doing the other
yes.
things that you would in an actual airplane.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
And it doesn't really hold your hand either. If you get a job from the system and it'll tell you where to go and how to deliver it, I don't think you're going to get any like waypoints or anything.
No.
You can give yourself a waypoint by choosing a specific thing or system, but it's not like, now use your hyperspeed to go down. You're just like, okay, well, where the fuck is that system? And let's look at the map and, find your way out.
Yeah,
I would not be about that game.
It throws you into a universe, and then you navigate the universe. And though it is not practical, the first spaceship that you start in, you can literally do every aspect of the game. There's like, I think somebody broke down how many different jobs you can have.
It's a beginner ship for that reason.
Yeah,
okay.
But you can do every single one. You can explore in it, you can bounty hunt in it, you can fight in it, you can pirate in it, you can mine in it, you can do every aspect of the game in your beginner ship if you want. It's just not the most efficient way and not the best way, but you can. And so the grind in that game is the game. It's just...
And that's similar to what JB says about the World of Warcraft and MMOs and stuff, is that the whole games are grinds. And yes, there are, some variants in missions, but ultimately you team up, you kill things. Sometimes a lot of little things, sometimes one big giant thing, and you're just leveling up and getting more armor. And that's the whole thing.
I think that's what the hardest part about Destiny is, too.
For RNGs in some of those games.
Yes, and RNGesus has a huge impact on Elite Dangerous in a lot of aspects.
So if you've never heard the term RNGesus before,
Thank you.
RNGesus it's a play on RNG, which is random number generator.
Mm-hmm.
So if boss of Dungeon 1 has a 5% chance to drop a very special shield, but has a 95% chance to drop a common shield, people will maybe farm that by just beating it over and over again, hoping to get lucky.
Get the 5%.
And
Yeah.
Or what Callan says, RNGesus will bless you, and you will get lucky like on the first time or two.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
See,
Like
and
Destiny.
Yeah.
Like Destiny. So
That's
Hunter.
the hardest part about Destiny.
Monster Hunter
There you
2
go.
for me. Now I'm getting it.
Yeah,
Okay.
RNGs.
So is Monster Hunter grindy?
So for me,
Oh, yeah, most
it
definitely.
totally
Really?
is.
Because you
But
gotta
that's the
get
whole
all
point
the
of it,
items.
though.
You're hunting monsters to get the scraps.
But
and
it's
stuff
always
to
been like
build
that, though.
items.
Okay.
See,
Like,
I
the
didn't,
original
at
games have
first,
always
I
been
didn't
like
feel
that.
like that because I got Monster Hunter World and started playing it. It was my first game.
Yeah.
With Monster Hunter anyway, and so I finally figured out like the best way to play is you need to upgrade to the highest armor that you can get, and then you can beat the higher level monsters, and then continuously on. So like the Anjanath. Right now, the Anjanath and like one of the weird bug sapling things are my two most powerful armor options. And so I'll do the investigations for all the Anjanaths, but it says it'll give me one gold item, one gold rare, and one silver rare.
Yeah.
So it's like uber rare, fairly uncommon, and then like super common.
So how do we improve the grind then? How do we make the grind either enjoyable or what is enjoyable about it? So in a game,
because it's RNGs, like it is a rare I'd say
It's like going to a
Diablo,
casino.
The one of the games I play that's pretty grindy is Diablo 3, because I'm trying to get specific set pieces.
yeah, Diablo 3 doesn't have to be. You can sort of play through the story if you want, but there is a grind aspect of it of just
end game.
Where you get to the end and you're just
Where you're
fighting
doing-
bosses
you're doing
and
the
stuff
Nephilim realms,
over and over again.
where you're getting to get higher level.
Okay.
And then get on leaderboards, etc.
Right.
But to get that primal ancient weapon, you have to be blessed by RNG.
Okay.
See, I agree with Calvin, but I agree with it in another way. For me, it's like going to the casino. Like, I enjoy going and seeing the different people and maybe doing a slot machine, but like at the end of the day, either I win or I won't. It's by chance.
Right.
And I mean, sometimes you do win, and sometimes you don't.
So
but the mentality
prize,
is, you guys love going. You guys used to go all the time. But for me, it's like, okay, if you guys want to do a trip, I'll go. But it's not my first choice.
Right, but the gambling and luck aspect of it is different than the grind, though. So if I could go to the casino and grind, like, 1 cent every 10 minutes, consistently, but I had a chance of getting, like, I don't know, $1,000, like a 1% chance of $1,000 drop or something, like that would be a grind. But so it's a little bit different from that because there's no
proper poker playing is grind.
Okay, that's a little better. Yeah,
Because
proper poker play.
If we use the same example, if all 5 of us were to go to a casino,
right,
you bet your ass I'm on a slot machine. Calvin's probably going to be a blackjack at least once. You'll play poker, and I'm pretty sure you'd play poker.
Yeah, probably.
I don't know what Bree would do.
And Bree's doing coke off a stripper.
And what that means is she has a strip of tape with a coke.
So she really wins the grind.
But you see what I mean? Like, everybody's got their different things. Like, I like slot machines, but I also know that, like, I live with Chris, who used to be a machine maintenance guy. So he can literally tell me what the percentage is on getting it jackpot. So it really doesn't help me, because then I'm like, wow, I really don't want to do this anymore. But I'll totally go and just watch you guys grind. I'm totally cool with that.
Yeah, JB says in WoW you don't improve the grind because, that low % chance keeps people there and trying. But the developers wouldn't. I'm asking you, what would make that grind better? What would make it more enjoyable?
Right, and the thing is, though, that the grind, though we are generalizing, is very specific for specific games, and usually there by the developers for an intended use. So what were the developers intending with the use of grind? Was it just to extend gameplay? In which case, to improve the grind is remove it. It's just in the way. Is it there as a like in Final Fantasy X? Was it there as a helping hand if you wanted it? In which case, don't change anything. Yeah. It's doing its job. You can use it or not. Mm-hmm. In Elite Dangerous, the grind is the point of the game. The only way that you would improve it would be to make the credit per hour of each grind. Yeah, just a little bit to where you don't feel like you're wasting your time. So in some games, it might be just upping the RNGesus percentage so that you don't feel like you have to be at it for hours and hours. It's like, maybe I'll spend 20 minutes grinding this thing out until...
So I think there's a way to sort of generally improve the grind overall. I have a few suggestions. One would, and they all have to do with variance. And it doesn't, and that's a general term, but if the terrain and the setting are different, if you're just fighting bad guys, but you're seeing new terrain and whatever, that's helpful. If in space, that's hard to do.
Yes.
But
ish.
Yeah. Also, with more advanced things like physics and stuff like that, even that can add sort of some variance to the grind. So if you have, let's say, realistic body physics, and you're just killing people over and over again, as they flop around, physically, as opposed to the same dying animation over and over, those little things can really improve the grind. The other thing that I would say that you could add in is a slight element of luck. So as terrain changes, if you have an action game, being able to utilize that in some way, varying up the fights. Weather changes. If you have a dynamic weather system, that makes the grind a little bit better, because as you go out, like, it's raining now, so this is going to be a little bit difficult because I don't have as good footing. and that element of luck changing your tactics. Or sometimes in Final Fantasy 15, I'll be like, I'm gonna just go out and like kill animals. The combat's pretty fun, but if I'm just gonna go out and like I'm doing hunting jobs or whatever, and then we get too close to a monster nest or something can come out of the water and be like, fuck it, I'm angry at you, and now I have to like rethink everything.
Oh yeah.
And so
I'm really glad you only have 2 dogs, Steven.
what? Why?
I'm just gonna go out and kill the
It's going out
animal.
killing animals that didn't ask for it, didn't need it. But so yeah, I think there are ways that you can vary up your grind.
So that's been a big talking point in the Elite Dangerous community, the player community, where so now the developers fighting Thargoids has started to become repetitive, because now that we know how to beat them, that was kind of the thing as they appeared. We knew nothing about them. Our weapons didn't do anything to them. Players had to figure out how to beat them. Then once they did, word spread throughout the player communities. Then the developers, because the players figured it out, then the developers added some things into the game to kind of help us out, and then that changed it. But now we've gotten to the point where, well, it's just kind of another Thargoid, shoot it the way that you shoot it. So Elite Dangerous is in the midst of releasing Chapter 3 throughout this year. They're introducing a new Thargoid ship. And it's not necessarily bigger, faster, meaner, the same thing, but worse. Like we have, it's actually bigger than the smallest one, but nowhere near the size of the big ones. So we have no idea what it does, how to kill it, anything. It'll be kind of starting over again, even though it's the same thing. Yeah, it's a new element.
Jumping into chat, June says, hey, Nightbot, and then immediately says, no, Steve, we've talked about this. I won't stop saying hi to Nightbot, so she already got ahead of me in that one. But yeah, no one else can say hi to Nightbot. Nightbot's there to do his job, 'cause he's goddamn beat boot.
Damn beat boots.
Damn
All
boots.
of our jobs.
Every job we have.
Fucking beat boots.
And JB talks about grind as a challenge, and I'm sort of just going to shorthand, because you made some very good points, JB. But basically, another way to help would be to see perpetual progress. So sometimes if you go out and level up in like a Final Fantasy game, you're only going to see progress when you hit the next level, at levels. Mm-hmm. And even then, sometimes you don't even really feel it. Like, oh, I'm level 35 instead of 34 now. I know that that's an improvement because the game told me it was, but I'm not going to like go out and necessarily feel that much more powerful necessarily with, when I'm out there. But seeing the progress, seeing the items, building towards something is rewarding. And, he mentions the RNG thing. If it is purely RNG grind, having such a low drop rate, and in WoW, the point, a lot of those things are like cosmetic, right? So they're just, there is armor and stuff that actually makes a difference, but a lot of things that people grind for are like mounts. Like, I want the purple dragon mount, and so this has a 0.10001% chance. But I'm just going to do it because I want that mount so bad, even though it doesn't actually do anything. Mm-hmm. Because if you, get it, people typically won't think, it's a status thing. But people typically won't think, wow, they must have got lucky as shit. Typically, if you see someone with that mount, you think, how the fuck long did you spend fighting it?
Right.
So there is, I guess, in an MMO, there is that status bit for grind.
June totally showed you up, by the way.
By loving on Nightbot.
I do 2 giggling girls.
I was like, I knew that was going to happen.
I don't know. I like it. I think it's fun. Video games are a way for me to get away from the real world. I think it's really enjoyable when I get to stay there for a really long time.
I think that if I'm purely playing to like do stress relief or just to get away, then yeah, grind's necessary. But I completely agree with what you said earlier. Like, if you don't have that much time, but you really want to play the damn game, and like for me, I love story. So if I don't get to play my story, I just have to grind. I'm gonna get pissed off and I'm gonna do a different thing.
So would we all agree then? Oh, go ahead.
This is going to sound initially very counterintuitive. I've kind of stopped playing Quake. To unlock characters, you have to play so many that you can just buy the characters, but you can unlock them.
Right.
You have to play so many matches that it really becomes super repetitive, and you just are sitting there grinding it out just to unlock new characters with different things. No, because even if you're really good and you're always landing in the top, you don't get that much of the in-game whatever
currency,
points or whatever.
But
for me, it's like So I guess for me, it's like I have my grindy game. If I'm going to grind, I'm going to fly my spaceship.
Right.
So when I play anything else, it needs to have like, apparently I've lost all tolerance for grind in any other game.
Right.
Like I either want to fly a spaceship or watch a movie. Like, that is it.
And you know, there's a grind sort of to Fortnite if you do the season passes where you're doing match after match after match and getting experience and stuff, but that sort of goes with the variance because, you know, like every
When you're
hand of
trying to get
poker,
orange
like every match
justice.
of PUBG or every match of Fortnite. Yeah, the point is sort of always the same, but every match is different.
Different, yeah.
You never really have the same thing happen back to back. Even if you drop in the exact same place, the loot is randomized, and you can't account for the 99 other people, that do stuff. So, would we agree then? Is this a statement that we can all agree with, that grind, in a general sense, is sometimes necessary?
Yes.
Yes.
You just gotta slide the rail, dude.
Does anyone think it is never necessary? There should never be any
I
repetitive.
just hate it sometimes, but I won't say it's not.
No. I want to know.
If I have a choice, I would prefer a game without grind. Like
Like The
straight
Last
up.
of Us?
Like The Last of Us. I love The Last of Us. I loved playing it all the way through.
Well, that's also like a story-driven game.
Right.
So it's like
but that's why I like
that's why
it.
like Uncharted's
Yeah.
the same
Yeah.
way. Like Naughty Dog makes story-driven games.
and I
This is-
typically like
and
Naughty
yeah,
Dog,
and
you know,
that's
so.
what it's like.
But I will agree that, especially for like,
because you can't deny
majority of
Fallout
games.
is a grind.
yeah, Fallout game. Yeah.
Because some people grind to get all that armor, and it's like that's what they really like, and people
So,
enjoy it.
From Software, they made the Dark Souls games. Dark Souls, the third-person action RPG, very challenging. It's difficult but fair, and that's what the takeaway is. But From Software went from that to their next game is called Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice, and that is a similar third-person action game. But in Dark Souls, you level up, you have experience, you gain different weapons and armor as you go. You can improve them with different materials as you go, and you can go out and just fight stuff and sort of grind for souls or whatever if you want. In Sekiro, your character is the same character. You never change your weapons. You can change your abilities because he has like a mechanical arm, but your weapon is always the sword, and there is no levels. It is all. So to me, that's a lot of Souls fans kind of balked at that because that's not what they wanted. But I was watching a Vati video, which is a From Software YouTuber, talk about how this really opens up the game because it will now primarily be skill based. You'll just have to figure out like the fights and stuff like that, and not have to, grind. But also without that level barrier, there's nowhere in the world that you can't feasibly be effective in. So in a lot of RPGs, you find yourself in a place that you're, like we mentioned earlier, not ready for. So they pretty much, hey, Kenny, thank you for the host, thank you for the raid. I'm glad your raid worked. JB lied to us earlier and said that his didn't. So I'm just playing with you, JB. But they essentially removed the grind. So this will be an interesting case study to see how it's not a Souls-like game, I don't think, in its strictest sense, but it'll be a good way to take Dark Souls 3 and then take Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice and see what happens when you remove the grind from a sort of similar third-person action game. So is there any last words on the grind? I think generally what we've come down to is if it is the point of the game, that is good. If it is used to artificially inflate the length of a game, that is no good. Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
To make the game seem longer.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so
I didn't know how else to phrase that. You just look confused.
in Destiny, you
I'm trying to
hated
dumb it down for you,
I
Colin.
didn't mean to, but like you just look confused.
you hated the grind in
I
Destiny,
did.
right?
Absolutely.
But you could have played through Destiny's content and then not grinded and stopped. So my question is, why does it upset you so much? Because it seems to be semi-optional.
For Destiny?
Yes, yeah.
Well, first off, I was very upset with Destiny because they didn't give me a full game.
Yeah. But just in terms of the grind,
first off,
what was upsetting?
They didn't give you a full
Everyone's
game,
argument.
so that made you forced to grind. You had
Oh, okay. Because you were done with all the content in Destiny in like 10 hours, and so
yes.
the only other thing to do would be just to grind and do other stuff.
Then when I did play Destiny Hardcore, I would just play the missions that I could do, and I was done with it for the week.
Okay.
And then I put it down. I'm like, nope, I'm not grinding the game anymore.
See, for me, it was different. I enjoyed it. It was a new experience
fun
because
the first time you did it through.
But I'm someone who never personally played WoW or whatever
mean,
that is.
Yeah,
So
nobody's played whatever that
for
is, so
me,
don't-
Yes.
for me, that's like the first like MMO on a console that was kind of successful but was still exciting because I could finally like get online and be like, hey dad, like there you are, and like we didn't have to have a computer, like we could have a console together, and that's what I enjoyed about that, and we could grind together like that.
I was wondering if your mic was
Steven
okay
was-
because they said they could
Steven
be
was
able to-
doing the mom
I was
thing
staring
where-
at your tits, Cal.
No, because how
was
I
staring
saw
at your
it,
tits.
I knew what was going on, but how I saw it is like Steven was being the mom that sees there's something on your face, and he's like,
I'm saying I got it.
Yeah, thank you, buddy.
And even though I will admit it wasn't a full
Sorry, I licked your
fun
face.
game, it was
It's okay.
it was good. It was okay. I enjoyed the grind.
I enjoyed
And
Destiny.
for both Destinies,
and I always
I have
had-
fully
I
enjoyed
enjoyed
it.
it for the first way through, and then after 6 months of the same thing.
No, that's fine. A lot of people do. Like my boyfriend hated that game, but I got him on 2 and he loved it until we
Right.
got bored.
No, yeah,
Like,
so
that's just about it.
I think I probably would have put down Elite Dangerous by now. If when I first got into the game, if that was the same game that I was playing now, and they did not add anything to it, I may have gone out exploring the galaxy, but at that point I'm just petting fish. Like I'm
Yeah.
not engaging in the game anymore. I'm just exploring the developer's universe that they created. Like I'm just petting fish. So I think that is I think that is important. That if you
Put your
make
fish petters.
if you do make a game that is dependent on grind,
Yeah. You have to work
it a
it
skateboarding
over time.
yes,
Your game,
You can-
to go back to another podcast, your game has
That
to
was
be a
double, I liked
service.
it.
yes.
Because Division was the same way, and I thought it was good until it got boring.
See, I hated the Division, and
And then now it's
and
really
now
good.
everybody
apparently.
loves it.
And I
I'm
hate
like-
it now.
Oh, interesting. That's funny. JB mentioned actually in Super Paper Mario, there's a Rupee Debt chapter that is you earn more story by grinding. Basically, there's I think JB, if I got the gist of your paragraph was
Just
that it
the
was
gist.
just the gist was that there's a story element to that grind.
Oh, gotcha.
So
Yeah. In general, if you have a
even as a
story-based
story
game,
person of the
the grind should be optional
Right.
for the most part.
I with Destiny 2, there was enough variance in sort of what we did that
Yeah.
when we finished the game, we're like, okay, the other thing I want to do in Destiny 2 before I stop playing is Leviathan Raid.
Yeah.
So let's get to light level that we need to be for Leviathan Raid. So we got to the light level, and then a couple weeks later, we log in, and they had made the new level for that raid higher than where we were. God fuck. So I go in and let's do some more. And we did that 2 or maybe 3 times, and so I've never seen the Leviathan raid.
Oh,
because
man,
I was like,
you're missing out.
You know what?
I'm just
Fuck
saying,
it.
it's beautiful. It's all gold in there.
There's really cool combat and
Yeah.
really cool thing. The raids in Destiny is you could do seminars on level design and game design because that's what
No,
games
they were
should be.
Even their
all
online
together.
thing with the most, I forget what it was, but it ends on Mondays. It's something arms, and you can only play 6-6 with the best people in Destiny.
Yeah.
And that was really fun too.
But
But then it gets
going
old
in
after a
as a
while, I guess.
group where you have to talk to each other and it doesn't really hold your hand and you're figuring out the world and the locations where you
not
are
like
and
to play with
there's
people?
stuff like this and we're like, oh,
This is the most
holy crap,
interaction
how do we
all
get
week.
through this? Does anybody know? Can you figure it out? Have you heard from anybody how this is supposed to, oh shit, go stand on that thing, I think you're supposed to stand there. Nope, it kills you, don't do that again. It's all, if all of Destiny was a series of raids that didn't make you necessarily have to spend 12 hours getting to the level to be able
They
to
are
do
very
it,
long.
then
Not gonna lie.
and also the raids themselves are
Begged
exceedingly
me to
long.
play Destiny. I'd have hated you so much.
The thing
I'd have been
is-
like, you are not my friend.
Sorry.
It's the thing about Destiny that really upset me, the first one especially, was that it was so fun
Yeah.
that I would be like, you know what? I'm having fun grinding this game. Let's go do those missions again. Let's do the Nightfalls because like combat's fun. It's slick. It's pretty.
But you were playing with people, right?
Yeah, I was playing with friends.
Yeah,
and then
I don't do that, so I really would not have had a good time.
You would not have enjoyed it alone. But then what happened was at the end of the grinds, the game routinely, RNGs is spit in my face. Routinely. And I remember the day that I quit playing the first Destiny was they were doing a Halloween event. And they were like, you could go through and you could collect.
so positive.
It was basically like trick-or-treating around the world and then doing some missions and stuff. And you would collect things and you would get masks. And you could wear them. They're cosmetic to look like enemies or other characters in the game and stuff. And you could collect all the masks was the Halloween thing. Mm-hmm. And so I told Sam, let's go around. We're going to make it our thing these next 2 weeks. Like, we're going to collect all the masks. It's going to be a bit of a grind,
and everybody
but
was screaming.
You could get them all. It wasn't like we had to pray for the RNGs this week. Could get them all.
Okay.
But it took a while, and I was like, I told him, I said, by the way, if we collect them all, and the reward for collecting them all is fuck all, I quit. And so Sam had turned in the quest earlier that day, and he texted me and he goes, hey, I just want to let you know, it doesn't give you anything for finishing all these quests. And okay, I'm done. I quit. I quit. Right? So, I think we had a good conversation. Any last words on the grind before we go to the fan can?
I feel like you're grinding to make this last longer, and I'm sick of it.
Gotta pad out the time. There's 4 more minutes.
I can have playful banter
I love the
with
grind.
us.
It's fun.
You love the grind.
Yes.
It's fun. You would rather not have
I
it.
would so much rather not.
Daniel has a game that he can grind in.
A game I can grind in that, as long as the grinds that I'm doing isn't relying too much on RNGs,
You take that.
it is enjoyable.
Man,
If you
the
want
one
one.
joke I want to do would only work if someone were gay.
Okay.
So,
I just want to.
Ooh, this is a little hard to
It's
read.
just not a fun
this is the Gun Nerds fan can. At the end of every podcast, we pull a random question out that comes from you, the viewers. If you see us in the world at an event,
we
then
need another one.
you can add the. You can read this aloud.
I can't read it.
Oh,
you
it's
understand what
difficult
it
to-
says?
Yes.
Oh, okay, you got it.
Read it.
Oh my.
Okay. I'll.
You spoke German to me for
I
a
got
second.
this one. I got this one. You can tweet us at GunnerNerds #FanCan. We'll add it to the can. You can redeem nerd cred from the overlay there on Twitch if you want to. Add a question fan can. What's the problem?
Did you read it?
Yeah.
I don't understand how you're going to read it because it's not meant to be read.
This is the fan can. You can put anything you want in here. I mean,
Okay.
I'll pre-screen it for
Alright.
awful, but you can be dumb,
It's just
right?
It's dumb.
You can make no
It's
sense.
not a question.
And we will respond to it.
Oh, I didn't think it was
There's
dumb.
not
I
a-
just literally
Okay,
couldn't
you know
read
what?
it.
Oh, I think it was...
It's not dignified for a response.
Cal, you go first.
This just in.
We'll see.
Man drops $5,000 Rolex into a porta potty.
Oh.
Has shitty time.
Okay, that was worth it. I'll read that one now. That's fine.
You can respond to it in any way you want to. That's a game guy. That's a game guy joke.
Okay.
4 out of 5?
5 out of 5.
I'll give it a 3 out of 5.
3 out of 5? I'll go 4 out of 5.
It was clever. But it was not like I'm not busting out of my chair.
I mean,
I did.
2.5 out of 5. Like,
It is exactly mediocre.
yeah.
It's not bad enough to be good, not good enough to be bad.
Yeah.
it's 5 out of 5 dad joke worthy.
Wow, very, very good.
Wow, you didn't even laugh, but you said
I
that.
totally laughed.
Oh, wow, my laugh was so loud.
Yeah. And I just assume that nobody else laughs at things I laugh at.
I want you guys to spend 3 seconds after I read this to ponder, and then you can issue your responses. This space intentionally left blank.
Oh.
Calvin.
Perfect.
Excellent. I think that it is a fantastic view of modern living, of people who, we're over encumbered
You're way
and
reading into
over
this.
cluttered, and your space should be intentionally left blank as well. Bree.
Destiny.
Perfect. Lauren. This space intentionally left blank.
You're
heart.
Babe. You're fucking reaching.
So, Daniel.
I don't think it was.
It actually was not. The space was not intentionally left blank.
See, I think I won. Did I win?
This is
I
He
think
thought
I won.
outside of the box, you guys.
like,
Daniel got it over
hold
here.
on a second. I can show you. The space, in fact, was not intentionally left blank. So yeah,
I will
Oh, you're
comment
a
after the
pretentious
fact.
Jim.
I would like the camera to pan to me
artistically
right
pretentious.
quick.
Oh, you want camera 3?
You have
The tan
horrible
camera.
handwriting.
I thought you were gonna threaten him like Liam Neeson for a second.
This is the point of the fan can. This is supposed to be our like whose line,
Yeah.
right? This is our chance to sort of riff on something or joke or respond off the cuff, not having pre-planned it or what. Not that we plan any of our shit anyway.
Or
but
anything
I
ever.
always,
Dun, dun.
I'm always love to see and hear the responses from people, especially. Like, you know, what's your
My
favorite?
stoic
What's
one.
your favorite anime? Is like a cool question, and I'd like to hear that from everybody. But I want to
a
hear what
tough
people
one.
say.
I have
This
Daniel
speaks
one.
to your
This is-
soul.
This is where I.
So
yeah.
I just
This is
want
where
to
I
point
live.
out you had the most pretentious.
Well, yeah, but that was never in question.
You little Jim. That's what he said.
Jim. I was called an artistically pretentious Jim. Guys, next week we're going to actually talk about difficulty in video games. Just in general. Do you prefer difficult or not difficult? Do you want a game to have choices and options? Does it, anything that has to do with difficulty in games? And I'm going to have a bunch of questions to ask you guys about difficulty.
Perfect.
We're going to talk a little bit about Dark Souls again, because we do it every fucking week anyway, so why not?
Never even played it.
Bree and I will be out that episode.
Dark what now?
Dark.
But
Play
yeah,
Persona 5.
think about
Like food?
think about the hardest games you've ever
Like
played.
dark meat.
Think
gotta
about
be Persona 5 again.
It's actually a cooking simulator.
That boss took me 6 hours to beat, you guys.
Okay, gotcha.
like 6 hours over and over again, or a single 6 hour fight.
Like, it was like 3 hours the first time, and then 3 hours, and I finally beat him.
Were you doing it wrong?
No, he gives you 6 arms, and you have to use a magic to beat each arm. And then if you run out of that person who has that specific magic, like they die or they have no more SP, you're
Sucks
done.
to suck.
Shit,
Yeah.
that's not good.
Persona 5 is hard.
So
But
why
it's
are we
wonderful.
talking about Dark Souls again?
Oh, I'm gonna bring up Dark Souls because it's hard but fair.
And I'm gonna bring up
But fair.
Well, Daniel and I have now officially made it to where Dark Souls is actually just dark meat chicken, and it's a cooking simulator.
Yeah.
Ooh, I
So
love
if you want
dark
to talk
meat,
about
though.
that, you
Okay. Yeah, we can talk about cooking simulators next week too.
Can we?
Why don't you just eat?
Cooking Mama!
Ooh, that's a perfect stream. Calvin's just eating the entire hour, and the rest of us will talk about cooking
And
simulator.
then every now and then he'll start to talk. We'll
He'll
be
be
like,
like,
"Don't talk with your
no,
mouth
no,
full,"
no,
and then he'll lean back. I love it. You can be Brad Pitt in Ocean's 11.
All right.
By the way, I learned why Brad Pitt. We're closing down, I promise. I learned why Brad Pitt in Ocean's 11 is always eating. You know, if you've ever watched the film, every scene he's like eating, and not like movie eating where like you're like watching him swallow food.
No, it's intense.
He's
You
hungry.
ever seen it?
They had where everybody was on set all the time because everybody's in every scene that they had to eat while on camera.
And him,
That's
look,
the
he
time
was
he had to eat.
eating.
They just made it a character thing for him.
It was like, who is it in the Fast and Furious? Tyrese? Have you ever seen Fast and Furious?
Of course.
Go watch
You know
some
what?
Fast and Furious.
No, you know why? It's a grinding movie. Because there's now, what, 7, 8 of them?
Oh, I guess. I mean,
Okay, but
Why are
there's
you
like-
throwing money at
there's like-
cars?
there's like-
Cars already have so much money invested in them. Why are you throwing money at a movie about cars and people and...
oh God, I started something I shouldn't have.
But there's
Oh my
like
gosh.
375 James Bond movies, and I still
I don't
can't
watch
wait
them
for the
either.
next one. Oh, well, we're done here.
Yeah, I think we're.
He like crossed
My-
his
my-
heart. He
my name
prayed
is-
to Jesus for you
I
just
don't-
then, Lauren.
My name is Steven.
You get this off.
Disappointed, Calvin.
I'm excited, Bree.
Lauren.
I'm disgusted. Dave.
She's amazing,
We'll
Lauren.
see you guys next time.